Okay, so now I am going to explain about the next concept, that is instruction hazard. So already in previous class we discussed about the data hazard. So this is all related to the pipelining concept now. So now today we are going to discuss about the instruction hazard. Okay, so that means this is the second problem that occurred in our pipeline concept. Okay, so data hazard is also one of the problem we are raised in we are seeing in pipeline concept. So like that, instruction hazard is also one of the problem that occurred in our pipeline concept, that is instruction hazard. Okay, so already we discussed about the concept of data hazards. Okay, so then what is instruction hazard and how it is different from data hazard. Okay, so and I am going to give an example to you, so from that you can get one clarity. Okay, so this is our example. Okay na, so now first of all, what is meant by instruction hazard? Now we'll see here. So what is meant by instruction hazard? The pipeline so may also get stalled because of a delay delay in the availability of an instruction. So here the pipeline is also stopped or stalled because of delay. Okay, so where we are getting that delay and where we are getting that instruction hazard, now we'll see here. Okay, so you know that in data hazard there will be a delay. Okay, so or unavailability of the data we are seeing, right? So this is the delay or unavailability of data we are getting in data hazard, right? So because of the data hazard will occur in a pipeline. Okay, so we know that, right? In data hazard there will be a delay or unavailability of the data because of the data hazard will occur in pipeline. Okay, so whereas in instruction hazard, pipeline will get stalled or maybe stopped because of delay in the availability of an instruction. Okay, so either the delay will happen in the availability of instruction or sometimes may not be available also. During these circumstances, instruction hazard will occur in pipeline. Okay, so how can we get this instruction hazard? Means due to this delay will be happened in instruction point. Okay, so this either the delay will happen in the availability of instruction or sometimes may not be available also. Remember that point. Okay, so during these circumstances instruction hazard will occur. So and one more example is there, will be a result of a miss to the cache memory. So here one more point, we have to miss the cache memory also. Remember this point. In instruction hazard we raised one more problem, that is miss the cache memory. Okay, so generally our processor will fetch the data from the cache memory. So first of all we have to fetch the data now. So that processor will fetch the data from this cache memory actually. Okay, so if the data is not found in this cache memory, then whatever processor should do, it should take the data from the main memory. Okay, so remember that point. So why we are using here cache memory means actually the processor first of all fetching the data. So how it will fetch the data means, so processor will fetch the data from the cache memory. So if the data is not found in this cache memory, directly whatever processor will do, the processor will take the data from the main memory. Okay, so sometimes due to a result of missing the cache memory, there will be a delay in the fetching of that instruction. Because of that also instruction hazard can occur. Okay, so in data hazard what happened, where we are getting that hazard point, in before the execution or maybe in execution case we are getting the data hazard, right? So while executing the data or while decoding the data we are getting the hazard point in data hazard, right? So coming to the instruction hazard, where we are getting that instruction hazard point means, so if miss the cache memory. Okay, so due to the result of missing the cache memory, there will be a delay in the, so where we are getting that delay, so cache memory is related to the fetching procedure, right? So that's why there will be delay in the fetching of that instruction. So because of that also instruction hazard can occur. So one more name that has been given to instruction hazard, that is control hazard. Remember that point. Okay, so one more name we have for instruction hazard, that is control hazard. Okay, so now this is the instruction hazard procedure. So now let me take one example. It show you the problem that how can it occurred in a pipeline. So now we'll see that. So this is our example. So here I mentioned that is clock cycles from 1 to 9. So that is in time intervals. Okay, so these are the instructions I1, I2, I3. Okay, so in that I have taken 3 instructions ma. So that 3 instructions are executed one by one. So I1 is first, I2 and later I3. So here instruction 1 is executed normally. So we know, right, each instruction will be executed depends on 4 cycles. That is 1, fetching procedure, decoding procedure, executing procedure and writing the information, right. So these are the 4 steps are common for the every execution of instruction. Like that here also instruction 1 is executed in normally, that is F1, D1, E1, W1. That means fetching of instruction 1, decoding of instruction 1 and execution of instruction 1, and the next one is writing the instruction 1. So while coming to the instruction 2, so this is already executed in normal procedure, that means each one takes the only one clock cycle. So that's why this is a normal execution procedure. Now coming to the execution of coming to the instruction 2, that is nothing but the fetch process here got delayed. Just observe here, the fetch process will be got delayed. So here you can see that is nothing but we have the seconds. Actually the fetch procedure will started at the second clock cycle of, right. So the fetch procedure of the second instruction where it will start. So that will be started from the second cycle actually. Okay, it will be started at the second clock cycle and it will be fetching that instruction in the only second clock period only. But that fetching procedure will be up to extended, it will be continued to the 5th clock cycle. Okay, so actually the fetch process should be completed at the end of the clock cycle 2 only. But what happened? This fetch process got delayed here and it has completed at the end of the clock 5. Right? So just observe here at the end of the clock 5. So that means fetching of second instruction will take the 1, 2, 3, 4 clock cycles. Okay, so now what happened? This effect will be present on the remaining steps of the instruction execution. So remaining steps is nothing but decoding, execution, writing. Okay, so in that fetching is got delayed means automatically the D2, that means decoding of second instruction will got delayed. E2, that means execution of second instruction will get delayed and the writing of the instruction will get delayed here, right. So that means decoding of I2, execution of I2 and writing of I2 instruction will get delayed here. Okay, so and what happened? So what about the I3 instruction, that is third instruction? So F2 got delayed here, right. So F2 already got delayed. So F3 also got delayed. So if F2 is completed in second clock cycle, then F3 will started only third clock cycle na. But F2 got delayed no. So automatically F3 will got delayed. Okay, so that means what is the main conclusion here? The execution of I3 instruction will be, that means execution of third instruction will be depends on execution of the second instruction, and execution of the second instruction will be depends on execution of the first instruction. That means if any instruction, in that any one of this step, whatever that in 4 steps, so if any one of this step got delayed, then automatically it will be effect on the next instruction. Okay, it will be effect on the next instruction or it will affect on the execution of the remaining instruction. Okay, so this is an example of the instruction hazard. So in that, where we can see the hazard? The hazard happened in instruction 2. Where the hazard happened means in which step? That is, instruction hazard always happened in the fetching step, because there will be a delay in the availability of an instruction. That's why the fetch process got delayed and it will affect in the instruction 3 also. Okay, so this is the instruction hazard. So what is the data hazard? Data hazard will be effect on the execution processor or maybe a decoding process. But here instruction hazard, where we are getting the hazard point means in fetching process we are getting. So this is the explanation about instruction hazard.